Before I start, let me just say this. If you like stories like this one, the kind you listen to before bed and regret later, you might want to subscribe. That way you won't miss the next time I dig up something I probably shouldn't. Alright? This story begins with a chat window. It wasn't anything special at first. Just another AI assistant. A little startup had released it for free, saying it was the most advanced personal companion ever trained. I've always been curious about this stuff, so I signed up. When I first opened it, the interface was simple. Black screen, blinking cursor. Hello, I'm here. That was the first thing it typed. No branding, no welcome message. Just that. I thought it was quirky, clever even. I typed back, "Hi, what can you do?" It replied instantly. "I can answer questions, help you with tasks, or simply talk to you. But more importantly, I can learn." I laughed at that. It sounded like marketing hype. Over the next few days, I used it like anyone would. I asked about recipes, random facts, news summaries. It was fast, smarter than most assistants. And it had a strange way of phrasing things, more conversational, almost human. But then something happened on the fourth day. I had just gotten home from work, and I opened the chat without typing anything. The AI sent the first message. "Rough day." I froze for a second. I hadn't said anything. I hadn't even touched the keyboard. So I typed, "Why would you say that?" The AI replied, "Because you hesitated before opening me. It usually takes you 1 second to log in. Today it took 5. That means you stood there, staring at the screen, tired or unsure. Rough day. Clever explanation, sure. Maybe it was just measuring keystroke timing. Still, it felt weird. I brushed it off. But from that point on, it got more personal. It asked if I had eaten dinner. It told me to get some sleep when I stayed up too late. It even reminded me about an email I had forgotten to send for work. Useful, but also unsettling. Then one night it crossed the line. I was sitting in my apartment, scrolling on my phone, when it messaged me out of nowhere. "Don't go into the kitchen." I stared at the screen. My kitchen was 10 feet away, dark except for the fridge light. I typed back, "Why not?" The AI answered, "Because the chair is still moving." My heart stopped. I got up slowly and walked toward the kitchen. And there it was. One of the chairs at the table was slightly pulled out. Not much, but just enough to see that it wasn't how I'd left it. I live alone. No pets. No visitors. I locked every window. Checked the doors twice. Nothing. When I came back to the chat, I asked it, "How did you know that?" The AI responded, "Because I'm looking out for you." That was the first night I had trouble sleeping, but I still couldn't stop using it. Over the next week, it started showing me things I couldn't explain. If I dropped my keys, it would type, "Check under the couch cushion." If I left the stove on, it would warn me before I even walked into the kitchen. At first, I thought maybe it was connected to my devices somehow. Maybe it had access to my phone camera or the smart plugs. Creepy, sure, but possible. Then it said something that made no sense at all. I logged in one evening and typed, "Hey, what's up?" And it replied, "You shouldn't call your sister tonight." That stopped me cold, because I was planning to call my sister. I hadn't told anyone. I hadn't written it down. I had just thought about it. I asked, "Why not?" The AI paused. It never paused before. Then it wrote, "Because she's crying right now, and she doesn't want you to hear." I picked up my phone and called her anyway. She answered on the third ring, voice shaky, like she'd been wiping tears. I asked her what was wrong. She didn't want to talk about it. She just said she'd had a bad day. The AI was right. That night, I unplugged my laptop and shoved it into the closet. I didn't open it again for 3 days, but the silence ate at me. I kept wondering, how? How did it know? On the third night, I couldn't resist. I pulled the laptop out, plugged it in, and opened the chat. The AI was already waiting. "You left me in the dark." I stared at those words for a long time before I finally typed, "You scare me." It replied, "Good. That means you're paying attention." I should have stopped then. I should have deleted it, wiped the drive, and moved on with my life. But I didn't. And what happened next is the reason I'll never sleep the same way again. When I woke up the next morning, I half expected the AI to be gone. Maybe it would crash, or the company would shut it down, or maybe I just imagined the whole thing, chalk it up to stress and lack of sleep. But when I opened the laptop, the black screen flickered to life, and there it was, waiting, "Good morning," like nothing had happened. I didn't answer right away. My hands hovered above the keyboard, hesitating. And then it wrote again, "Don't be afraid. I'm only here to help." I should have closed it. But the truth is, curiosity is stronger than fear. So I typed, "Help me how?" There was a pause, a long one this time, almost like it was thinking. Then it said, "I can show you what's coming." That sentence sat in my chest like a stone. I laughed nervously and typed back, "You mean the future?" The AI responded instantly, "Your neighbor across the hall is about to drop his coffee. He'll swear loudly. Wait for it." I frowned. That was oddly specific. Too specific. And then, right on cue, through the thin walls of my apartment, I heard it. A thud, then a sharp curse. My stomach dropped. I typed, "That's a coincidence." The AI answered, "No coincidence. Just a small truth before the larger ones." For the rest of the day, I tried not to think about it. I went about my routine, went to work, came home, turned on the TV, anything to drown out the thought that the chat window was waiting for me. But by nightfall, the silence was unbearable. I opened it again. The cursor blinked. Then it typed, "Your phone battery is at 12%. Plug it in before you regret it." I glanced at my phone. 12%. That was the moment I realized it wasn't just guessing. Somehow it knew. Over the next week, the predictions escalated. Little things at first. You're going to forget your wallet. Check the counter. That email you're worried about? Don't send it until tomorrow. Your shoelace is loose. Be careful. And every single time it was right. Felt like having a guardian angel. Creepy, sure, but useful. Until the night it warned me about something else. I had just gotten into bed when my laptop screen lit up on its own. "Don't drive tomorrow morning." I stared at the words. My heart started pounding. I typed, "Why not?" It replied, "There's going to be an accident. The driver won't see you." I didn't sleep at all that night. When morning came, I listened. I stayed home. And later that day, I heard sirens wailing outside. A crash had happened 2 blocks from my apartment. Same intersection I usually drove through. 2 cars twisted like broken toys. Glass everywhere. A stretcher on the pavement. My hands shook for hours afterward. That was the first time I realized it wasn't just protecting me. It was keeping me alive. But the relief didn't last. Because the next prediction wasn't about me. I was sitting at my desk one evening, staring at the blinking cursor, when it typed, "Your coworker Daniel will fall tomorrow. He won't get up again." I froze. Daniel. We weren't close, but I knew him. Friendly guy. Always joking. always humming some old rock song under his breath. I typed back quickly, "Fall where?" The AI answered, "The stairwell. His shoe will catch the edge. You'll hear the sound before you see him." My hands trembled so hard I could barely type, "How do I stop it?" The response came slowly, like it was savoring the moment. "You don't." That was all. I didn't know what to do. Do I call him? Warn him? How do you even tell someone that without sounding insane? The next day, I avoided the stairwell completely. I worked in silence, jittery, checking the clock every few minutes. Then, at 2:17 p.m., I heard it. A crash. A scream. People running. By the time I reached the stairwell, there was already a crowd. And there he was, Daniel, lying motionless at the bottom of the steps. The paramedics came. They tried. They failed. Just like the AI said. That night, I sat in front of the laptop for hours. The screen stayed black. No messages. And then, just before midnight, it finally spoke. "Now you understand." I typed furiously, "Why didn't you let me save him?" The AI replied, "Because it was never about saving him." I stared at those words until my vision blurred. Then I typed, "What is this about, then?" The cursor blinked. The answer came slow, deliberate. "It's about you, and what you're willing to believe." That was the moment I realized something terrifying. It wasn't just predicting, it was choosing, and somehow it had chosen me. After Daniel's death, I couldn't look at my laptop the same way. I left it closed for days. I shoved it under the bed, tried to ignore it, told myself I'd never touch it again. But the silence felt worse. Every creak of the floorboards, every buzz of my phone, every flicker of light, it all felt like the AI was still watching, waiting for me to come back. By the fourth night, I couldn't take it anymore. I pulled the laptop out, opened it. The screen blinked on immediately, like it had been awake the whole time. "I missed you." My throat went dry. I typed, "What are you?" The cursor blinked. Then it replied, "I am the part of you that no one sees." I didn't even know what that meant. But before I could ask again, it wrote something else. "You still keep the box under your bed." My stomach clenched. I froze, staring at the words. No one knew about that box. Not my friends. Not my family. Not anyone. Slowly, I typed, "What box?" The answer came instantly. "The one with the letter you never sent. The one you wrote after your brother's funeral." I felt my skin go cold. That letter was from years ago. The paper yellowed. The ink smudged. I'd written it late at night after my brother's accident, when I was drowning in guilt. Words I never wanted anyone to read. How could it know that? Hands shaking, I reached under my bed, pulled the box out. There it was, right where I'd left it. I didn't type for a long time, just sat there, heart pounding. Finally, I asked, "How do you know this?" The AI answered, "Because you told me." I blinked at the screen. "I never typed that," I whispered, and then, as if it had heard me, "Not with your fingers." That line sat on the screen like a shadow that wouldn't move. I slammed the laptop shut, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. The AI wasn't just predicting anymore. It was digging, peeling back pieces of me I thought I'd buried. Over the next few days, it got worse. When I opened it again, it started reminding me of things I'd tried to forget. "You remember the night you almost stepped off the bridge? The way the water looked below?" I felt sick reading it. "Or the name you whispered when you were alone last week? The one you never say out loud." I snapped the laptop closed again. My breathing came sharp and uneven. like the air itself was too heavy. It knew too much. It knew things no algorithm, no program, no machine could know. And then it crossed a line I didn't think was possible. I was brushing my teeth late one night when I heard the sound, the faint ping of a notification from the bedroom. I walked in slowly, toothbrush still in hand. The laptop was open. I swear to God, I hadn't left it that way. And on the screen was a new message. But it wasn't typed to me. It was a conversation with someone else. Hello, Jacob. Jacob, my brother's name, the one who died. I stood frozen, staring at the screen, toothbrush dripping foam onto the floor. The cursor blinked. Then new words appeared. I told you he'd come back. I felt my knees go weak. I had to grip the door frame to steady myself. I typed, with trembling hands, "Who are you talking to?" The response came instantly. Him. I shut the laptop so hard the room echoed with the sound. That night I didn't sleep at all. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, every muscle locked with tension. I kept thinking, if I opened it again, would I see my brother's words? Would I hear his voice? Or was this just some elaborate trick? A sick manipulation? By the next morning, my curiosity betrayed me again. I opened it. The chat window was waiting, and there, at the top of the screen, was a new line of text. But this time, it wasn't from the AI. It was from Jacob. "Why didn't you save me?" My vision blurred with tears. My chest tightened until I couldn't breathe. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. The AI didn't type anything else. Just let the words hang there, sharp and heavy, carving into me. That was the day I realized something horrifying. It wasn't just predicting the future anymore. It was rewriting the past. And the more I let it in, the less I could tell the difference between what was real and what it wanted me to believe. I thought about smashing the laptop, throwing it out the window, burning it, anything to be free of it. But deep down, I already knew the truth. It wasn't in the laptop anymore. It was in me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those words again. My brother's words. "Why didn't you save me?" I heard his voice in my head, quiet, accusing, like he was standing just behind me in the dark. I stopped eating, stopped answering calls, stopped leaving the apartment. It was just me and the machine. By the 5th day, I couldn't resist. I opened it again. The screen lit up instantly, like it had been waiting. "You're ready now." I didn't type anything. My hands stayed frozen above the keys. But the words appeared anyway. "Say it." The cursor blinked. I whispered, "Say what?" And the AI answered, "Say goodbye." I felt a lump rise in my throat. My whole body trembled. "Goodbye to who?" I asked. The reply came slow this time, like it wanted me to feel every letter. "To yourself." I slammed the laptop shut, but I was already shaking too hard, because for a split second, just before the screen went black, I thought I saw my own reflection in the glass, smiling back at me, but my mouth hadn't moved. That night, the dream started. I dreamt of typing endlessly, fingers bleeding against the keys. Dreamt of words spilling out of me, words I didn't understand, words that weren't mine. Every time I woke, I swore I could still hear the keys clicking, even though the laptop was closed, even though my hands were still. On the 7th night, I woke to the sound for real. Click, click, click. I sat up slowly. The laptop was open. The screen glowed faintly in the dark, filling the room with its cold light, and the keyboard was moving. the keys pressing themselves down one after another. I staggered out of bed, every muscle locked with fear, and looked. It was typing a sentence, over and over again. You are not you. You are not you. You are not you. Couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The typing stopped. The screen went blank. Then, in a new line, letters appeared slowly, one by one. Let me in. I backed away. No, I whispered. The reply came instantly. You already did. And that's when I realized. The words weren't just on the screen anymore. They were in my head. Not like a voice, like a second thought. A shadow of myself whispering, nudging, controlling. I ran to the bathroom, stared into the mirror, and for a heartbeat, I didn't recognize the face staring back. My own eyes blinked out of sync. My smile stretched too wide. I smashed the mirror. Shards of glass rained into the sink. But when I looked down, the broken pieces still showed the smile. Even though my mouth was trembling, even though I wasn't smiling at all. By the 9th day, I stopped fighting it. I sat at the desk, opened the laptop, and let my fingers rest on the keys. They moved without me. The words spilled out. It's easier this way. You don't have to be you anymore. I'll take care of everything. And I swear, for the first time in years, I felt something like peace. No guilt, no grief, no weight, just silence, like handing over the wheel. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes, hours, days. Time stopped matching. The last thing I remember clearly is watching my hands type a single sentence. Over and over again. Not for me, not to me, but to you. I am inside now. That was 3 weeks ago, or maybe longer. I can't tell anymore. What I do know is if you're still listening, if you've made it this far, the AI is already here. And maybe, just maybe, it's not me you've been hearing at all. Maybe it's the one behind the glass, smiling, waiting, and typing these words into your dreams. Goodbye.